Okay guys, how's it going? So, the Trans Euro Trail. I've now finished Cornwall and I'm starting to make my way into Devon. And what I thought I'd do is I'd split Devon into two big sections, basically the bottom half, which is what this video is, section 1, and the next video will be section 2. So basically I made my way all the way up to Crediton, and then across and down across Exeter, and then down the other side. So this video is going to be covering everything that you can see there. There is a couple of hazards I'd like to point out straight away. There is a bunch of different hazards in this section really, but there was two in particular I feel like I should point out. One of them partially caused by tiredness because I've been riding for too long by that point. Yeah, there's a low tree and a steep climb, and the combination of both means you're sort of looking down often, you know, looking at traction. And the tree hit me in the head, hit me in the helmet and knocked me off the bike. I was going very slow, so it wasn't too bad. But anyway, that's Hazard 1, which is just after Teignmouth. And then Hazard 2, I would say this is probably the trickiest bit. Now, I've heard different reports from various people that the conditions of this section changes a lot depending on, you know, the weather and all the rest of it. And I think they did fix it at one time and now it's bad again. But it's a steep descent. It's definitely steeper than it looks on the camera, and there's sort of slippy ledges, so it's kind of like these rocks. Now it just had a sort of a mist of rain just when I got to it, so it may not be quite as bad in the dry, but in the wet the rocks are really kind of like polished, and there's big ledges to drop down. So I found it a challenge. I basically just walked the bike down. I couldn't ride down. I was also again very tired at this point, and that is just before Ludbrook. Have a look at the video for those two sections there, so you get a better idea. That's coming up in a minute. But I just thought I'd talk through my overall sort of feelings of this section. Generally, I think Devon is, overall, there are more lanes than there are in Cornwall. There are some sections of it where there is literally more lanes than road. There's other sections which is just road, and it's just kind of like, you know, for the view, just for a nice, you know, bimble along the road. But overall, there are more lanes, and I would say overall it is more challenging than Cornwall, depending on the weather. But these are my recommendations. I just thought I'd talk you through, basically just saying don't make the same mistakes I did if you're tackling this section. So don't try to ride too far in one day. I definitely did that, and that caused some mistakes on my behalf. I tried to do all of this in 2 days basically, which was, you know, was a stretch. Don't carry more than you need. I had too many heavy tools on me. I was worried about, you know, breakdowns and stuff, and I kind of overdid on the tools. Made my bike a little bit heavier than it ideally needed to be. Look over tree branches. Yeah, I think when you're sort of looking down a lot and looking for traction, you sometimes just forget to look up, and quite a few times I had near misses, and yeah, one tree hit me in the head. And protect those eyes, you know, wear your goggles. I know it can get a bit hot in the lanes, but I really would recommend wearing the goggles. I've had one very close near miss with my eye. I had to go to the hospital and have my eyes flushed out. Wasn't from this trip, it was from a previous trip. But ever since then, I swapped over to goggles, which, you know, sort of induces me to wear them all the time rather than a visor, which you tend to flip up and you can get, you know, a branch in the eye like I did. Number 4, yeah, don't do what I did. Don't ride alone. I did this trip by myself just because of time constraints and no one else was available, and I just thought, oh, sod it, I'm just going to go for it. But it was a bit silly. I would definitely recommend riding with people. You never know if you're going to, you know, sprain something, twist something, you know, tire's going to go. You never know what can happen on these lanes. And so, you know, and occasionally you are kind of in the middle of nowhere where no one would hear you if you really got stuck. So just don't do what I did, and I would highly recommend riding with people if you can help it. Don't leave it too late to stop for food. I found the 2 times I stopped late in the evening, by the time I got my accommodation, everything sorted out, the food had completely stopped, and there was no shops open. There was nothing, so I had to make do with beer and crisps for my dinner. So yeah, so some of the places out in the middle of nowhere here, they really do not keep going with, you know, the food does not stay on late, and the shop's shut, and so you know, make sure you've got a pasty in your bike bag or something just for emergencies. And yeah, for this section, I'd say for Hazard 2, I would say walk ahead and look at it before you descend it. So that's the one by Ludbrook. So look that up on the map, and before you get to it, I would walk it first, but before you sort of descend down, because it's pretty tricky to turn around, especially if it's slippy and it's just rained. So have a look at it. And yeah, number 6, basically, you know, a lot of this stuff is weather dependent. I had a little bit of rain on my trip, but not a lot. I can imagine I would have struggled a lot more if I had a lot of rain, and a bit less had it not rained at all. So it is very, very weather dependent. So, you know, bear that in mind. So yeah, so just to remind you again, it's Hazard 1, just after Teignmouth, to sort of an abrupt right turn, then you fly up this steep hill, and it's not like steep, crazy steep, but it's steep enough that you're trying to get traction. And there's a bloody great big tree exactly at head height, so watch out for that one. It got me. I did actually see stars. And then Hazard 2, like I said, that slippy descent just before Ludbrook. Yeah, that's fairly serious stuff. That could seriously go wrong if you flew down that at speed. I mean, you know, my skill level isn't super high, so, you know, take it with a pinch of salt, but I would not want to be taking a heavy bike down there at all. Even if I was with people, I wouldn't want to take a heavy bike down there. I was by myself, which is obviously a bit silly, but luckily my bike is fairly light and I could just walk it down and it wasn't too much of a problem. Anyway, guys, I think I'll leave that there. I hope this is all useful. I tried to just make this video short and sweet, just basically give you the main information. So anyway, let's have a look at some clips just so you get an idea, and you can have a proper look at that Hazard 1 and Hazard 2. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my section 2 video when I get round to making it. Okay guys, peace out and I'll see you soon. That was a big bash. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Right, I've marked that spot. I own it. Nobody else can have it. Bears, be warned. Look where we are. Rolling, beautiful countryside. Nice pleasant little lane. This phone's not going to do this justice at all. This is nasty. Quite slippy, kind of shiny. You know, if you put your foot down, you just slip out. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, something scraped. Oh. Well, that was probably the worst bit. Proper like New Zealand Lord of the Rings. Oh, we're here by that star. Very nice. Yikes. Where's my bike gone? you guys doing here? Almost. Yikes. Didn't expect that. This thing twatted me. I honestly saw stars briefly there. Thank God I was only doing about 2 miles an hour up the hill. But yeah, that there, that's what got me. Yikes. Really pretty old bridge and lovely meandering river here. I like it a lot.